Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. 1. Terence Crawford wins ESPN's 2017 Fighter of the Year. Stay tuned. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego in the back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing if you want to become part of the gang. Notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We working. Now, ESPN, they just announced today Terence Crawford is their 2017 Fighter of the Year. Congratulations to Terence Bud Crawford. Now, I have no choice but to say this because I speak my mind on my channel. If you don't like it, don't follow, unsubscribe, whatever you want to do. It's a free country. But I think that new media played a part in that, like just restoring the balance back into the game, right? And I'm not saying we're the sole reason Terence Crawford won Fight of the Year, because let's not get it twisted. Terence Crawford did the damn thing this year as a fighter. So had it not been for that, it doesn't matter what is said, he wouldn't have won. So obviously he did all of the work to get recognized. But the reason that I say new media had a part in it is because unlike old media, we restore the feeling back into boxing. There's no politics or just exclusiveness and biasness when it comes to this shit. And Terence Crawford, I think he's definitely deserving of this. But I honestly feel, in my heart of all hearts, I honestly feel that new media put a pressure on old media to step it up to the point where if they didn't recognize Terence Crawford as Fighter of the Year, they would look even more so biased than they already look. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, it would be a very bad look if he didn't get it, because he's the first fighter since, I think, Jermaine Taylor, Bernard Hopkins. Either way, both of those guys are pretty much retired, right? He's the first guy to become undisputed. So how doesn't he get it? You know what I mean? And you can't say Pacquiao, you know what I mean? Guys like Pacquiao, he lost to Jeff Horn. Floyd Mayweather fought an MMA fighter and Conor McGregor. So guys who have probably won it in the past, they wouldn't really be eligible. You know what I mean? Floyd coming off the couch 2 years fighting an MMA fighter, that doesn't really get you Fighter of the Year award and nomination. Now I get it. You know what I mean? Floyd Mayweather's fight with Conor McGregor did great numbers, but you can't take away from what Terence Crawford did in 2017. Not only did he become undisputed, he ran through Felix Diaz, who has solid win over Sammy Vasquez, and some people even think he beat Loma Peterson, who's now facing Errol Spence Jr. So it goes to show you the pedigree of Felix Diaz. Again, an Olympic gold medalist, and Terence Crawford was toying with him and playing knock-knock on his head, patty cake and stuff, fucking around with him, and then end up stopping him. Then after that, he got a guy who had been going to people's backyards, who's bigger than him, taller than him. I was at the fight in Lincoln, you know what I mean, near Omaha. I was in Nebraska. I watched it live, and it was a spectacle. Terence Crawford, he wasn't bothered by the frame or the size of Julius Indongo, and then he ends up stopping him with the body shot. So he has to be 2017 Fighter of the Year. Now, this is where it gets tricky. Congrats for him getting the Fighter of the Year, but it leads you into more questions. Because if you were to look at it, one's so inclined to look at the newest, most current ESPN pound for pound rankings, they have a panel of people, and they have Vasily Lomachenko in at #1. They did this before he even beat Rigondeaux, but whatever, he beat Rigondeaux anyway, and he only has one blemish on his record. And they have Lomachenko #1, Gennady Golovkin at #2, and then Terence Crawford at #3. So my question is this: how is it that Terence Crawford, you could recognize him for basically having a phenomenal 2017 year? However, he's still #3. He's still #3 in the pound for pound rankings. Now, Lomachenko, I mean, I'm getting tired of arguing the same point. I still want to see him do certain things. I know he's talented. I know he's the best at 130. We still got to see it. You know what I mean? Let us see it. Get those belts. Move up to 35. Fight Mike Garcia. Take a risk. Things like that. But not even really talking about Lomachenko. Look at Gennady Golovkin. Look at his 2017. ESPN, see, and the reason I say pound for pound is because ESPN, they release these, I don't know how frequently, but every so often, every couple months or whatever it is, that ESPN releases these pound for pound. So we have to consider, since they're being updated, we have to consider where the fighter's at in their career. Now, Golovkin is coming off a draw with Canelo in 2017, a guy who really didn't have much experience at 160, and some of you motherfuckers said he was going to get knocked out, and he went the distance, no knockdowns. The fight was closer than a lot of people think. Obviously, the Adelaide Bird scorecard was bullshit, but some people had Canelo winning, some people had Golovkin winning, some people said, hey, a draw is satisfied. But nonetheless, Golovkin landed 8 body shots, and he didn't look as forceful and authoritative and dominant as he has in other fights. Now, before that, another fight, I covered the Canelo Triple G fight as media. Another fight I covered as media this year was Golovkin versus Danny Jacobs. Another similar story. Only difference is Jacobs got knocked down, but he got back up and got to fighting, and it was a close fight. I had Jacobs winning. So once again, if it's not politics, how does old media explain Golovkin? People are now saying, oh, it's his age, he's getting older, because you looked as he stepped up in competition, the fights got harder. Guys are pushing him the distance. And it's no mystery to me. You guys can say whatever you want. You can say I'm bashing this fighter, that I don't care. But it's no mystery that Golovkin, how do you have 23 knockouts in a row and then you fight up your best competition that are adequate in terms of weight? Even though Canelo was moving up, he's still a guy who, his 30-day weigh-ins, when he was weighing in with the WBC, he was weighing about what Golovkin weighed, even when he was at 54, 55, right? So in last 2 fights, you step up a competition, all of a sudden the 23 knockouts in a row just dissipates. Just no more. You can't knock the guys out. That's because of the echelon of competition, right? And Terence Crawford, I keep saying this, he just was undisputed at 140. He could stick around and try to fight Regis Prograis, and try to lure Mikey Garcia, maybe even Broner. I don't know what weight Broner's talking about fighting, but if he stays at 140, he could have tried to do that and milk it. But he's running to the fire where there's certified champions and powerful champions, you know what I mean, like Keith Thurman and Errol Spence Jr., and then a power puncher in Jeff Horn, new champion, and he's running towards that. I mean, Crawford got to get his propers. That's just what it is, you know what I mean? But back to this whole Golovkin thing. How is Terence Crawford, if we're looking at current pound for pound rankings, coming off a draw and a questionable win? Nonetheless, it was a very close tooth and nail type of win in the Jacobs fight, and that's how is he pound for pound? I don't get it. And not to mention, Golovkin has all of the belts except for the one that Billy Joe Saunders has. And to be honest, Billy Joe Saunders, he made a name for himself, or he made his name bigger in his last performance with David Lemieux. So whereas a lot of people thought, oh, Golovkin will blow Billy Joe Saunders out of the water, based on that performance, you can't necessarily just say that. Meanwhile, so again, Golovkin elected, this is what I'm talking about, the politics. Golovkin elected to not become undisputed, or attempt to become undisputed, by facing Billy Joe Saunders, to instead take the money fight. Now, I understand business, I understand money, I understand people need it. It's a necessity. So, I mean, I'm not saying he shouldn't have took the Canelo fight, but his whole team, Golovkin's whole team, since they touched down in America and started building their buzz, they said, hey, this guy's a business fighter, and it's about legacy and undisputed. I won all the belts. So that didn't really make your case. You won all the belts, yet Billy Joe Saunders all of a sudden got bold before Willie Monroe and David Lemieux fights and said, I got me pinned, and then you chose to fight Canelo, another guy you've been wanting to fight, but he no longer has a belt. He already gave you his. You know what I mean? So that kind of slashes that, oh, I want to be undisputed, or that's my #1 priority. It can't be your #1 priority, because when Frank Warren and Billy Joe Saunders said, hey, we're in negotiations with Tom Loeffler, they said, oh, he's bruised up from the Danny Jacobs fight, so we're just going to wait. And then they find out he's fighting Canelo. So again, you can say whatever you want, but I'm just saying, if you support him taking the money fight, the first fight with Canelo and Triple G was a good fight, that's cool. But what I'm saying is, you can't say, oh, my #1 priority is to become undisputed if you decide to take a money fight. Period. Just like Alida Alvarez. He can't say my #1 priority, I'll do anything to fight Adonis Stevenson if he's taken step aside money 2 times, and he might step aside again the second time to make a Badu Jack and Adonis Stevenson fight. So it's just it's not congruent with what you're saying. That's my whole point. But nonetheless, let me wrap this up for you guys. Golovkin has all the belts except one, and he has to fight Billy Joe Saunders, at least right now, to get that belt, right? Terence Crawford is behind you on the pound for pound ESPN list, right? And he had all the belts in his division, and his first fight, if it's up to him and his promoter, his first fight at 147 is going to be a title shot. So once again, my question to you is, even if somehow you have Crawford behind Lomachenko, which I don't, how is he behind Golovkin too, who's not undisputed, who had the opportunity to try for undisputed, but he passed it up for the money fight, and both of his recent performances with better competition, Daniel Jacobs and Canelo, gave him a run for his money, and he didn't look spectacular. Meanwhile, you look at Crawford's recent performances, it looks like he's only getting better. Felix Diaz playing around with Olympic gold medalists, running through Julius Ndongo and stopping him, guy who's bigger than him, Victor Postal. You know what I mean? I don't have to go through his whole resume. So to me, it still seems a bit fishy that they can recognize Terence Crawford's greatness when it comes to naming him fighter of the year, yet they still have him number 3 behind Golovkin and behind Lomachenko. And for me, Lomachenko, the biggest thing for him, I just want to see a couple more tests, adequate size, good momentum, stuff like that. And then, of course, I don't have a problem with him being top 3. But he has very few fights, and there's certain things that I got to see. Like, for example, you guys can say, oh, you're hating, whatever you want. But I don't personally feel I've seen Lomachenko fight the style that gave him problems and gave him his first L since then, since Orlando Salido. You know what I mean? Because, like, look at Broner. Broner lost to Maidana. That's the style that is proven to beat him because it beat him. Chino Maidana was not playing no games, right? Then he said, oh, I'm glad I took it. Oh, man, you know, AB, I'm glad I took that loss. That loss to Maidana, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. And if I got to get a Maidana, I got to get a Maidana. You know what I'm saying? He said all that. And then he fought, which is similar, not saying they fight exact, but Sean Porter, another rugged guy who's going to pressure you, stay in your chest. And then he lost that fight again. You know what I'm saying? So he said, I'm not losing again. And then the first time he fought a style that was somewhat similar, he lost again. So for me, that's what I got to see from Lomachenko. You know what I mean? The Rigondeaux, that was cool. Very, very cool performance. Two-time gold medalist. But this was a guy coming up, older in weight. We knew these things, right? So let's see you unify. Let's see you fight Mikey Garcia, stuff like that. Because to me, those would prove more. But to me, it's just weird for ESPN to recognize Terence Crawford as the fighter of the year, yet he's on their list, number 3 pound for pound. How's Golovkin in front of him coming off of his last 2 performances? I just don't get it. New media, stand up. Ego's Army, stand up. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego Sunday. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.